Live.
Well, he's been away for a while, but that old television favourite Doctor Who is returning. The latest Time Lord is Liverpool actor Paul McGann. And the good doctor is getting the Hollywood treatment in a 2-hour Anglo-American special costing £6 million. 9 minutes past 8, and now for a tip on curing those post-Christmas money problems, here's Anthea.
Thank you very much, Penny. So
doesn't really matter, they're making it.
And then there'll be a series of it.
The idea is it's a 2-hour pilot for American television, for you know, general television, because it does go out in America, but it's on PBS stations, so it creeps across, you know, the kind of PBS system in America.
Yes, the way it does with satellite here now, of course, where it's being screened. But officially, as things stand, could you imagine a situation whereby we have this American TV series and a resurgence in the British one, or a remake, or new episodes, or have you been officially exterminated?
I think I'm officially exterminated. I was talking to a previous Doctor Who last night, and he said he thought it was a bit sad that I was going over to lay hands on someone else outside the BBC influence, as it were, because he thought that you know, it should be made like the film with that was the 2 black and white films that were made years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
You know, they weren't really officially in line.
Peter Cushing starred in those, didn't he? Yeah. Do you have a favourite Doctor? Because Anthea and I were saying earlier, we're probably like Paul McGann, who's in his mid-30s. I mean, we are of that generation who, as kiddies, as 4- and 5-year-olds, were introduced to William Hartnell playing Doctor Who.
Well, yes, and the thing is, it's a difficult question for to answer, because I go to conventions and I meet all the other Doctor Who's, and they're all taller than I am, you know, and they come up to me and bop me in the head and said, "You didn't say I was your favourite Doctor." I was watching that programme. But Patrick Troughton was the first one I ever watched, and I think it's like your first love, really. You always remember that first one. It attracts you to it, no matter how good the others were. So my vote would go for Patrick Troughton.
You wonder how it's going to travel, though, because it is a very British...
a police box, that's how it travels.
I'm talking now sort of globally. Because it's a very British thing, isn't it, Doctor Who? And somehow, apart from, obviously, an alien is an alien, it doesn't matter. But you just wonder how the Americans would actually sort of
take to it. Yes, I don't know. When I go to America to the conventions there, one thing that they do love about it is its Britishness. And you talk about an alien is an alien. That's not quite true, because what they do like is they like the fact that all our aliens speak BBC English. Take me to your leader.
And you can see the egg cards,
you know, they've got,
they
love all that. You know, they kind of. I think they'll miss when all that smoothness takes over. It
yeah, but I wonder, you see, kids today, would they have been as naive as we all were watching this? I mean, I somehow think, looking at my own kids, they're much more sophisticated, and they can sense what's the biz and what isn't the biz. And does it need this sort of injection of American money?
I don't know. No, really. No, they could have made it here, I'm sure. The thing about Doctor Who was that it was the story and the telling of the story that was its magic, really, and it sometimes got very convoluted, and sometimes it was so complex I didn't understand half of it. But it still kind of hooked people who are into that kind of machinations and really kind of complicated ins and outs. Whereas generally American science fiction television is, you know, for the mass, the broad mass, you know, and so they make it as simple as possible and have lots of special effects. So we couldn't afford the effects, so we had better writing.
You said that you were a fan of it. What was it like for you when you very first met a Dalek in real life when you were filming it?
It was a great delight. It was about 3 or 4 stories in, and I didn't really feel I was the real Doctor until I worked with a Dalek.
Did it frighten you?
No, it just gave me a nice buzz. And I was able to look inside and see that his brain wasn't made of porridge, but it was just an actor.
I met a Dalek once at the Royal Variety 3 years ago, and it put the fear of God into me, and it all came back to me. Standing behind the settee and
all that.
Frightened to death I was. If I'd seen a Cyberman, I would have freaked out.
Well, there's a man who's bought the BBC official mould of the Daleks, and he sells them now. I was reading that in the papers a few weeks back.
Sylvester made a fortune out of it.
Thank you very much indeed. I hope good luck to Paul McGann. I'm sure we all wish him well. And thank you very much indeed for coming in and reminiscing with us, us this morning. I wonder who the assistant will be. You could go for that job, couldn't you?
You never know. Maybe I could go to the audition.
Look what happened to Bonnie Langford.
There you go. Now then, we're going to take a break now. I think we should, before I get too excited about being Doctor Who's assistant. And after that, we've actually got positive advice on how to get out of debt. That's next after the break.